What's up, y'all? I decided to go live today because I'm working from home, had a little bit of free time during my lunch, and I thought, what better thing to do than talk a little bit of scraps, talk a little bit of fights, talk a little bit of boxing, where I think boxing in the state it's at. And more than anything, I also wanted to talk some prop bets just because I missed the live this week. My dumbass got a concussion. I never jumped guillotine, and in the no-gi tournament, my dumbass jumped guillotine against dude that trains MMA, and I got slammed through the mat. Still almost got an ankle lock after that portion, though, but my dumbass had zero position over submission. So remember that, boys and girls, position over submission when playing jiu-jitsu. So with that being said, y'all, let's jump into some prop bets I like, talk about a little bit of boxing. If you guys are here, give us a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm excited just to talk and chop it up here a little bit, to be honest with you. This UFC card in UFC Edmonton, I think it has a little bit of value to it. I think when you look at the bets, especially from a prop perspective, I think there's a lot of good props here. There are some fights that I know a lot of people are heavy on specific favorites. I see some lines moving on some fighters too as well. One thing that really interested me is Garrett Armfield and Sergey City. Their lines are kind of moving in opposite trends. City was up to a minus 180 I saw on a few different books. And now I'm seeing him at a minus 135 on DraftKings, and the line's moving on that. And I think there's some value in City here specifically. Good cardio, good power puncher here. Garrett Armfield, we've seen in a few performances look flashy and look incredible here. I really, really liked his David Onama performance, specifically was one of them. Brad Katona performance was interesting to say the least too. But we saw in his last performance that he seemed to slow down in the later rounds. And I think City has some good cardio. And I think there's some value here at City at minus 135. So that's a play I'm looking at, especially as a parlay piece. Phil, the king, the godfather of CST. I appreciate you, brother. Feeling a lot better, a lot less foggy. Just happy again to talk some fights. City's someone that I think that comes on late, punches and bunches in combination, can cage push too as well. One prop for this fight that I really like that I think has sneaky value. And shout out to my boy Raph Simmons, because I know he says that double chances are for suckers. I remember that very specifically, and I love double chances. Sergey City at knockout or submission against Garrett Armfield is plus 330. I think that has some sneaky value. Getting a way to win the fight 2 of 3 ways here at almost 3-1 odds or over 3-1 odds, like that seemed to be a lot too as well. So Jack Shore is an underdog I'm looking at. I know my boy Mike is super heavy on Yusuf Salal. I think the line's a little bit crazy. It's giving us implied odds that they think Yusuf Salal wins this fight, more than a 70% clip. And while I think Yusuf Salal has shown leaps and bounds performances, at his best day, he's a ranked contender. On his worst day, he's really still a fringe top 30 guy. Yusuf Zalal looks incredible. I know Jack Shore got his league leg beat up against Joe Anderson Brito. People forget Ricky Simone is a pressure wrestler, man. So, I mean, the pressure that he put on him, especially before cracking him. Jack Shore, I think also too, is used to have a tough weight cut to 135. I think Jack Shore possibly could be growing into it. Looking at his Instagram, he looks a little bit thicker. Maybe he's on that good stuff, has a better dietitian. Maybe the same dietitian as Tom Brady. Who knows? I like Jack Shore at the plus 270 number. That's not saying that I think necessarily that Jack Shore wins this fight, but I think at the number at plus 270, almost 3-1 odds, how do I not want to play that? It's someone that when he is on his best day, decent striker here. Yusuf Salal is not necessarily going to be chopping the legs with power like Joe Anderson Brito is. He has strong, incredible grappling. So there's 2 ways really to play this fight. You play Yusuf Salal by submission, especially can use just in general, just the strength and the cardio advantage that he does have. But Jack Shore, if he can get the underhooks, keep this fight on the feet, I have no problem seeing him possibly win a split decision, eking out 29-28. Jack Shore split decision. I'm curious what that prop is actually, because Jack Shore's money line alone plus 270 is pretty juicy. Jack Shore by decision plus 400. I want to go see what his split decision line is here. Let me see. Jack Shore to win by split or majority decision at plus 1100. That's an odd prop that I actually think has a lot of sneaky value. Patrick, what up, Brody? I appreciate you joining in, man. Hope you're doing well. I know you hit some sneaky bets every now and then, especially on the baseball. So feel free to jump in and throw us the locks. Jack Schnorr by a split or majority decision at plus 1100. I can see this fight going tit for tat to where we see some striking versus grappling going on. Jack Shore eking out 2 possible decisions, and at plus 1100, give me that line. I think that's a sneaky prop too as well. Again, I like Jack Shore's money line at plus 270 regardless, almost 3-1 odds. When I think this fight's a little bit closer to maybe 65-35, 60-40 in terms of how you're going to range it and how you're going to cap it. So, Vinny, what up, baby? Hope you're doing well, my brother. Good to see you. Another prop that I really like too, wait, did they take the Mike Malott, Trevin Giles fight off? No, I found it. Mike Malott by submission, man. Mike Malott, man, he could be a little bit gun shy. I think Trevin Giles has really good boxing and a solid jab. Not the best head movement per se. I don't think Mike Malott's going to keep this standing on the feet specifically. I think Mike Malott's best key to victory here is to wrestle, possibly get a points decision, but Mike Malott by submission is at plus 225. I think that's his highest percent chance of winning here. If you're looking at purely based off of ways to win and factors, I think Mike Malott getting this fight to the ground, maybe doing some cage pushing, some cage wrestling, eventually finding his way to the back. Or Trevin Giles is one person that, you know, he gone out on a shield against Mike Morales before getting dropped in the way that he did. I can see Trevin Giles getting rocked and throwing his neck into something here. We've seen Trevin Giles sub before. It's not like we haven't seen it before in the UFC. He's been subbed twice in the UFC. I think Mike Malott has a solid BJJ game, especially a good front choke series. Give me Mike Malott by sub at plus 225. So those are a few different odds that I like specifically. Just throwing out some long shot parlays here. Mike Malott by sub, Jack Shore's money line, and then going back to Serhi City by finish. Looking at this here, that's a plus 5,000 and plus a 5,000 parlay, so 50-1 odds. That's something worth a little bit of sprinkle no matter what your unit size is. So I think that's nice, a little half unit bet. Why not something fun here? Rocking with Shore for D Wood. Shout out our boy D Wood. Yeah, man, I just think the line's crazy. Sometimes it's about playing the number. Sometimes it's not even about who you think is going to win or lose the fight, because we've seen Yusuf Zalal throw leaps and bounds. Looked incredible against the now champion Ilia Topuria, possibly gave him one of his toughest fights yet. But Jack Shore, again, on his best day, solid, man. 19 fights of experience, still a good winner, man. Ricky Simone has that heavy pressure wrestling, so him getting arm triangle against him isn't too crazy, especially when he had a horrendous weight cut. And Joe Anderson Brito, man, throws everything fucking viciously, man. So there are things that he can go back to the gym and go back to the well and work on here. And not saying Yusuf Zalal shouldn't win this fight, but at the number, you got to love it at plus 270. So, man, Brandon Moreno is someone that I want to talk about here. Brandon Moreno, I always have questions when people talk about, he didn't necessarily talk about his love for the game, but he talked about maybe I'm a pussy for not wanting to come back and fight sooner. And I find that very interesting. Amir has a solid pressure wrestling game. We saw his hands get better too in his last fight. I know everyone was crying about the Kai Kara France robbery, but Kai Kara France didn't. I mean, I know it. He definitely won that fight, in my opinion. But when you're not filling in the space, you can't be mad at Kai Kara France for essentially giving away the fight. Maybe my hottest take of the podcast here. Amir Albazi, I think, could beat Brandon Moreno. I think if he can find a pressure game, you know, all he has to do is wrestle him for 3 of 5 rounds, realistically. Brandon Moreno is probably the safer bet at the even money, but I think at plus 150, I think Amir Albazi here is kind of being underrated. I find this fight a little bit more 50-50 than anything. And if we see Amir Albazi's cardio improve whatsoever, we've seen Brandon Moreno controlled by far less grapplers. Brandon Moreno's jab and his boxing is solid, but he takes a while to get started too. Let's not act like Brandon Moreno isn't a slow starter. And Amir Albazi, by definition, is a fast starter. So I like Amir Albazi actually to win this weekend at plus money at plus 150. And I hate to say it because anyone that follows me on Instagram knows every single Brandon Moreno fight day, I post a very specific clip. And I'm a huge Brandon Moreno fan, man. So yeah, Phil, we're on the same page. I think it's Amir Albazi's time. And one thing that I know is fighters that are coming off of robbery split decision wins where everyone in the public thinks that they won, they seem to get better. I don't know what it is. Maybe they take that fuel into the fire and see what everyone in the public's saying, but fighters that come off split decision robbery wins, quote unquote, they seem to get better on their next fight. So I like Amir Albazi to take this one. Alexander Romanov, he looks like he's in incredible shape. In terms of pure grappling, in terms of pure wrestling, he should beat Rodrigo Nascimento. In terms of grappling, BJJ and things of that nature, Rodrigo Nascimento has a better game. But guys, it's the heavyweight fucking division. When do we see BJJ win fights ever? Maybe 10 to 15% of the time. And we're not talking about pure base control or cage wrestling. We're talking about pure gonna choke you out, finish you with a limb lock and things of that nature. I don't see Rodrigo Nascimento finishing Alexander Romanov. And I know Alexander Romanov seems to gas, but if there's one thing we've seen when it comes to heavyweights as they get in better shape, they seem by better shape, I mean their physique looks better. It looks like he's maybe in the lab with some of those fools up in the mountains, if you get what I'm saying. Romanov, if we see any slight improvement, I definitely think he can win 8 of 15 minutes against this fight. Rodrigo Nascimento isn't dangerous late. Alexander Romanov, if he can get 2 takedowns and hold Rodrigo Nascimento down, who is prone to lay on his back, I don't understand the line here at even money. I like Romanov almost should be his 2-1 favorite the way I look at this fight. I look at this fight more 65 to 35 Alexander Romanov the time. It really comes down to if he makes a dumbass decision and overly gasses himself out. So I like Alexander Romanov here, and I think Alexander Romanov's line is being disrespected. I think he should be a pretty big favorite. So give me Alexander Romanov at even money for a pretty solid bet this week. And I hate betting heavyweight MMA, but Romanov is, when he's on, he's on. I mean, beating the shit out of Marcin Tybura for a round, albeit Marcin Tybura is a tough cookie and someone I find better than Rodrigo Nascimento. So give me Romanov here. Feeling pretty solid about that. That's what I DM'd you on IG. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not on my phone right now, but I'll check it out here. But I like Romanov pretty heavy here. And it looks like, again, his cardio is improving just purely based off the shape that he's in. We're going to have to see it to believe it. But the best thing is you can play this fight pre. You can play Alexander Romanov at even money. And at any moment, he looks like he's gassing out going into round 2. You're probably going to get Rodrigo Nascimento at a good live line because at that point, Romanov will be tired from wrestling and offensively wrestling. And I promise you, Rodrigo Nascimento is someone that is prone to lay on their back and try to use their jiu-jitsu, which is not the game plan against someone that wrestles. So, and I don't think he has better cardio than Marcin Tybura personally. So, oh man, trying to see here. And just about that. Hey, yo, look who it is. It's the Fool.
What's up?
What's up, Fool?
What's
How
cracking,
are
big
you?
dog? Good. Bet the house on Ariane Lipsky. Ariane Lipsky or Ariane. I don't know, man. I'm hyped.
Against Jasmine Judavicius, let's talk about it. Jasmine Judavicius. So Jasmine Judavicius in Canada. The vicious Judavicius in Canada. Bro, this shit just got hella energy. My boy, the Fool is here, dog. What's up?
What's cracking, my boy?
How do you think Lipsky gets it done against Jasmine? Because I like
she
Jasmine's
goes all the way.
cardio.
Yeah, so the cardio is crazy, but I think she might outstrike her. Like Lipsky's last fight was insane, man. Or her last 2 fights, like she keeps getting better. You know, it's not like she's going backwards. Obviously, you know, Canadians have been on a bad streak lately, so I'm gonna probably ride that wave.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's crazy. So I don't have a heavy lean either way this fight. So you coming in and saying bet the house on Ariane Lipsky is horrendous to say the least. But honestly, let me look at this card real quick. That's the second female fight of the night. There's only two female card. There's only two female fights this card. That's pretty dope, actually, right there. You got that's sick as hell. You got Ariane Lipsky and then the Jamie Lynn Horth fight, whatever about that one here. But if you like Ariane Lipsky at plus 185, solid odds. If you like her on points, that's plus 300. Hell yeah, Phil. Your 2 favorite bettles are right here, dog. Fucking so. I mean, what are you thinking then in that case? What do you think about the main event, Food? Do you like Amir Albazi or Brandon Moreno? And is your Mexican bias going to take over for this fight talk right now?
I mean, like, damn. If Brandon loses, what is that? 3 in a row?
Let me go see here. Actually, that's the funny thing is, I just love watching Brandon Moreno fight. I forget all about the X's and O's when it comes to it. I just think this is a bad style matchup because Brandon Moreno, we've seen him get held down before, unfortunately. Yeah, that would be 3 in a row. He's lost 2 split decisions, Pantoja, and then he lost against Brandon Royval. which he let both of those fights slip away in the later really with Brandon Royval round 3 and round 5 were pretty prudent, but Pantoja, he just let that fight slip away with him in the 5th round when he had Pantoja dead to rights, gassed. But Pantoja's a gangster, bro.
What are the odds on that fight?
Brandon Moreno's a -170 favorite. Amir Albazi's a +150 right now. I like Amir Albazi just because I think that he can get and hold down 3 rounds taken down when it comes to 5 of those rounds specifically. I think this fight's going to be decently similar, maybe not as exciting and maybe not as technical, but it's going to be similar to the Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira fight we just saw. It's going to be 3 rounds of someone having success and what they're best at, and I think it's going to be Amir Albazi having success for 3 rounds in the grappling department, and I think Brandon Moreno could have 2 rounds of striking success. That's the issue, man. And again, one thing I brought up too is when fighters start talking about retirement and how he's saying maybe I'm a pussy for taking this much time off, it makes me really question their commitment and decisions, you know. Brandon Moreno, though, pound for pound, excuse me, I think is the better fighter. Yeah. I think he has the crisper striking. He has the better chin, quite frankly. I think he has the better offensive. He has the better killer instinct. He's just better offensively and on the gas. I just think Amir Albazi, in terms of stylistic matchup, can put in together a 15 solid minute game plan of 25 minutes. And Fight Ready, even though they're not on the hottest streak right now, Fight Ready still has some solid fighters out of there and some solid coaches. Leprechaun, what's up, yo? How are you, man? Hope you had a sick fucking Halloween, dog. And even better fucking St. Patty's Day in fucking 5 months when it comes up. So yeah, I like Amir Albazi, especially at the.
You think it goes all the way, right? It goes all the way.
Yeah, it definitely goes all the way, man. I could see it even being a split decision, one of those split decisions where you're looking at someone being on the striking end to maybe a cage pushing end on the other side. So I could see a decision / split decision. I don't want to bet a prop on this one. I like Amir Albazi's number just enough as an underdog to take it. And the best thing about 5-round main events, especially at flyweight, they don't know how to cap them live. You see these odd shifts that make 0 sense. For example, Brandon Moreno after round 2, which was a clear 1-1 fight, was a +260 in the main event his last fight against Tatsuro Taira. Yeah. And they just don't know how to cap these 5-round fights live. So you're going to have a live betting opportunity possibly here. So a few different ways to play it, man.
Those are fun. Unless you're in California, you know, then I love hearing the props, bro. Like I try to keep up with them. Like when I go, even in Vegas, bro, like there's only so many casinos that have props. Like everybody's like, you have to go look for that shit. But those shits are fun when they hit. If you have an opportunity to do that, take advantage of it, guys. Come on. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing, man. I'm pretty big.
But the game plan, like you said, like I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was like, yeah, Albazi's game plan is gonna determine the outcome of this fight. If he comes and he does what he has to do, which is wrestle, we all know it might be boring, but not to a lot of people, you know. Like if you know the game, that shit. Hey, if you get the belt, get closer to it.
Yeah, I honestly, bro, I'm super interested in the co-main event, man. I know some people were hating on it, but Aaron Blanchfield versus Rose Namajunas is a super interesting fight to me. Do you have a take on this fight? Do you have a takeaway on this fight? Who do you think wins?
Oh, after I saw the French lady take care of business, I could see the game plan now on Rose. I think Rose wins, bro. Like seriously. I think I hate saying the word exposed because that's like, that shit's like cringe to me. But
it's like overuse of the term fraud.
Yeah, like all that shit. Like I don't think, you know, like there's no such thing as a fraud. Like you're in the big lights, you're in the big show. Like you're not a fraud, bro. You got there. Actually, no, I'll take that back. There's a couple of fucking frauds in the UFC. But yeah, I got a Thug Rose, man. Unless she's never let me down, and I don't think I've ever bet against her. So,
well, I think it favors that this is a 3-round fight for her because we saw in the Tracy Cortez fight she started to slow down against what we thought was a gas Tracy Cortez. What a fun fight that was, by the way. Tracy Cortez versus Rose Namajunas put on a little classic fun scrap that we didn't all expect. I mean, I was very, especially as an Arizona boy, very happy with that fight.
Was that in Utah? That was a Utah fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's higher elevation. Erin Blanchfield is too tough for her own good. She walks forward. She is not athletic. She's extremely slow, and it's pretty insane to me that she's gotten some of the wins that she gotten, like the Talia Santos win, for example. Like that's such a solid win here, specifically against being so unathletic. The Molly McCann win, I don't hold that in such high regard, but getting the Jessica Andrade win, huge. And Farrow is different, man. Farrow is such a solid, high, refined level kickboxer. And I know Thug Rose has such good movement and head movement. I just am worried that Rose could possibly run herself into the cage and get held on the cage for 10 to 15 minutes. That's my only worry here. But taking Rose at plus money, it's like, how do you not play the number? How do you not play Rose at plus 125? The better striker, the more athletic. I wouldn't say easy money here. It's WMMA, y'all. There's no such thing as WMMA easy money. Get the fuck out of here. Anyone that's been gambling on MMA knows long enough that you will get bit in the ass betting on WMMA long enough. That's a fucking promise. I promise.
Oh shit!
It's just a fact. So Thug Rose pre-fight at the plus dog money, and if the fight starts going one other way, say you see Rose start to get in her own head or even slow down a little bit here, I have no problem taking Erin Blanchfield, especially if she can implement some sort of wrestling takedown game plan. I like pre-fight Rose Namajunas though. So, what you mean, Chris Cyborg money line 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Again, you're pointing out post-fight after it happened. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that once the fight happened, and I was also on Cyborg. It won me a nice parlay too, as well. But it's just like it's easy to say after the fights happened. Oh man, that was easy money. In hindsight, of course, but in retrospect. How many times have we seen the Juliana Millers come into a fight a minus 400? Not me specifically. I saw that coming from a country mile away because I watched the Ultimate Fighter season the year before. But how many times have we seen a Juliana Miller come into these fights and then get smoke showed? Or Jocelyn Edwards not too long ago at a plus 630 underdog come here and roll these fools. Dana White Contender Series, for example, that one girl that got slept cold, that was a minus 900 favorite. There's no such thing as easy money in women's MMA, and I truly believe that, man. So it's just hard to read and it's hard to cap. And one thing is too, as well.
And we're not talking shit about women's MMA. We're talking about betting.
That's not talking shit whatsoever. That just means it's hard making it clear. Bet on. Yeah. It's simply hard to bet on. That's all it is. I know one person and one person only that's super profitable, and that's my boy TJ. And I swear he always is just like, I think I like her. I'm gonna pick her. I'm like, bet, brother. Go with your touch. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. That was me on Alexa Grasso for ages. So up until her last fight, even. So I'll take that L on the chin, no doubt about that one. So those are just.
I'm leaning Rose. I think. I hope it's not like a Marab Sugar Sean shit show, but we'll see.
No,
because it feels it has the makings of a fight like that.
Yeah, well, I just think truly think when it comes to Erin Blanchfield Rose, it's just like the main event. The co-main event, I think these fights are pretty linear. I think if Erin Blanchfield tries to stand there and strike with Rose Namajunas, she's going to get out athletic and out moved. It's going to look like, it's just going to look like a walking into a trap is really what it's going to be. Is Erin Blanchfield's going to be walking into a trap for 15 minutes. If she can get off a cage wrestling game plan, she's going to be able to win this fight. It's almost the same thing with Amir Albazi, but Amir Albazi can get takedowns in the open. And I think Amir Albazi could hold the fence. And it's the same exact thing. If Brandon Moreno can keep the fight standing and keep his ass off the fence and keep his ass off the mat, he wins the fight. I think these two co-main event and main event are pretty linear. So I'd be surprised if they went differently, as in if Erin Blanchfield outstruck Rose Namajunas, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Rose Namajunas out-grappled Erin Blanchfield. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And it's kind of the same way too. It would surprise me if Amir Albazi outstruck Brandon Moreno, but if Brandon Moreno out-grappled Amir Albazi, like found dominant positions such as a back take or maybe even finds himself in top half guard, I absolutely can see him holding that position, and that wouldn't be overly surprising to me because these are people that we haven't seen. Erin Blanchfield, for example, and Amir Albazi. These are two fighters we haven't seen necessarily do a lot of defensive grappling. So,
yeah, and Brandon Moreno's base is jits, so I'm pretty sure that shit'll kick in finally, because he's been working on his boxing, but that jits will never go away.
Bro, he's as a huge boxing fan, he's a Mexican to me, brother. His base is
Yeah.
always all gonna be boxing to me, brother. His jab,
You
like
can't teach
I like
that
his low jab too. I like how he hangs his shoulder low and he throws his jab, not necessarily from his hip, more from his oblique, and it's just nice, man. I appreciate Brandon Moreno a lot. I have a lot of love for that guy, man. So, not sure if you went
watching
through all
him
the
grow in
fine.
the sport.
Actually, Patrick, my fuck it parlay for the week actually has City by finish at plus 330 inside the distance, double chance, either submission or KO. I have him at plus 330. Him at money line, his money line moved from minus 180 to minus 135. I saw literally overnight. So a lot of money's coming in on Garrett Armfield. It would be sick by fight night if we got that close to even money, because that's a hammer spot to me. Garrett Armfield, someone that he is so up and down. He has some great performances, and then he has some downward performances. And again, I always think about the David Onama performance too. When David Onama really gassed himself in there too specifically, and Garrett Armfield with the Katona performance always makes me question him specifically. So, I like Series City a lot specifically this weekend too as well. And I really hope the line keeps moving in Garrett Armfield's favor so we can get even money. So, my Brandon Moreno's last fight at 125. He'll fight Cejudo at 135 one day. Dude, Moreno would be so undersized at 135. Like Davison Figueiredo is not overly undersized at 135. He still is undersized undeniably. He's still the smaller fighter in there. But Brandon Moreno he's not a big 125er at all. He's never been a big 125er. And I'm sure he can keep making, I'm sure he doesn't want to keep making 125, but damn. Let's talk that a little bit. If Brandon Moreno were to move up to 135, outside of Cejudo, which is the obvious matchmaking, who would you like to see Brandon Moreno fight in his first fight at 135?
Rob Font.
I knew I put this on my brother's soul. I knew someone was going to say Rob Font off rip, because Rob Font's now the ultimate gatekeeper at 135. Yeah.
Like you throw him, like you can't throw him like with someone lower in the rank. You have to throw him straight in the gate. Throw him at the gate. See what happens.
This is predicated on a result of one fight coming in. Philip says, Cheeto, if Peyton Talbot beats Raoni Barcelos, Brandon Moreno versus Peyton Talbot.
Oh, fuck you. No. No, what am I going to do? I can't bet. Yeah.
You don't want to bet that.
Let's put your two favorite fighters against each other.
That's what you don't do. You don't bet that fight. You sit back, you crack a Guinness, you rip a bong, and you enjoy. That is what I would do.
War, bro.
Especially if Moreno comes off a loss this fight, which I predict he will. Him moving up to 135.
Oh, yeah.
Why not do if Peyton Talbot beats Raoni Barcelos, which I feel like Peyton Talbot will do comfortably. Peyton Talbot versus Brandon Moreno. Slap it down. I'm with that.
That's crazy.
That'd be a
I wasn't ready for this. Bro, it's only 10 a.m. over here. Like, what the fuck? Like, now I got Peyton Talbot and fucking Brandon Moreno in my head.
That would be... one of my favorite things to do is matchmake. Like, I wish I could actually matchmake some scraps, because I agree with Phil's sentiment on matchmaking. You don't need to have a number next to you. Why do I need to have a number next to it to see Peyton Talbot versus Brandon Moreno? There's not a single MMA fan on planet Earth, not one, that wouldn't want to see that fight, unless you're a super Brandon Moreno fan and you're scared that he could lose that fight. But here's the one thing no one ever talks about. Fighters moving up in weight class, it's good for their durability. They're not draining themselves. They still have liquid to hold in their brain. And I know Peyton Talbot goes dead between the eyes when it comes to scrapping, but man, Brandon Moreno is one tough son of a gun, just to say the least. I would love that scrap. Why not?
Peyton Talbot's my favorite fighter in the UFC, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and then I love that. I love his style, bro. Just the way he came in,
His fight against Reyes Cortez on a Contender Series was so fun, man. Doing backflips and literally getting out of single legs via backflip, tucking and rolling, scrapping. I'm so sorry. I'm replying to a work email right now. Give me one quick second. And then let's see here.
Any other fight? Oh yeah, that Garrett Armfield fight. You're right, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. By the way, is your thoughts on the rankings don't matter? They shouldn't matter in combat sports. We should be able to get we should be able to get cross ranking scraps, cross promotion scrap. I'm waiting for Vinicius Oliveira return to the cage. You know what's one thing about Loke Dog, brother, is if Loke Dog had any cardio, he could be a legit threat. Solid takedown defense, great low kicks, good jab, kind of low fight IQ. He walks into things. He doesn't necessarily defend well. He doesn't defend leg kicks well, as we saw here. He can check his own. He can check decently well, but sometimes he'll throw onto checks, which is very strange. We haven't seen his offensive wrestling, and he's clearly not scared. He's called out Umar Nurmagomedov, which I love. I mean, he's a gangster for that. No one calls that full out. If Loke Dog had better cardio, if he went over to the deeper end of the favelas and got a little bit of that sauce, a little bit of that juice that Charles Oliveira was on, that's probably a top 5 135er on planet Earth. That's like real shit. Like Loke Dog versus Peyton Talbot, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. That's crap right there. 1 sec. I want to pull up these 135 Tapology rankings real quick. I like going to Tapology because I think they have a little bit better rankings, and I like seeing cross promotion rankings and things of that nature here. Like,
no, so like even Brandon Moreno was talking about it. They asked him that at the press conference, like how you feel
like
about
Loke Dog versus Montel Jackson. Like, come on, bro. Vinicio Oliveira versus Montel Jackson, gangster as hell. Loke Dog versus Jonathan Martinez, stop it. Corey Sandhagen, because he's down to scrap anyone, versus Loke Dog. Okay, like anyone can sell that fight. Like these are some fun scraps, bro. Fun scraps.
And it's unfolding better. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the sport's kind of like, you know, like no, we have so much content or shit to be like you said, matchmaking, you know. Oh man, next year's gonna be fun, bro.
I told my boy this past week, and I've been in denial all year. We've been crossing into a new area, MMA, UFC specifically. Also, this new era is going to be way better in terms. Yeah, one thing about that, Patrick, is people aren't just training in karate. People aren't training in boxing and then coming over and cross-referencing into wrestling. There are kids that are 4 to 5 years old that are going to MMA class. There are kids that are literally coming into, you know, 4th grade that know how to kick, that have better fighting skills and better fighting mechanics than most adults walking around.
So, you know, Yair Rodriguez is a coach. He has a couple. He has a. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up. He has kids signed that are like 6, 7 years old, bro. Like boxing, like Yair and like what's his name? I forgot his name. Have you ever seen the Yair video when he's like thugging? He's like fucking pushing that guy down and like going like that. He's the manager. He's like one of the managers for like a lot of the Mexican fighters.
No, but, I'm like probably like the least involved MMA guy you've ever met. Like when it comes to like. When it comes to anything that's not actual like fight bets, fight news, or fight tape, I really don't get involved because I think MMA has the worst. I think MMA legit has the worst fan base on planet Earth. I think people that look up to fighters, and I mean this with the utmost respect or disrespect, I really don't give a shit. If you look up to a fighter, you're not the smartest person on planet Earth. You look up to people that get punched in the face and punch in the face for a living. You understand these people are different breeds than us. So that's my thoughts on overall MMA. So I try to stay away from everything MMA unless it's literally the fights, bets, or tape itself. So when it comes to like managers and stuff, like I saw some crazy shit Ali Albazi posted towards Floyd Mayweather yesterday. It blew me away. I said that, and I literally was like, yep, that's enough MMA Twitter for the day. It blew me away, man. Like, and that's just, I don't know, bro. So I think, and that's
the dark side.
Let's segue into that. What you're saying about people and thoughts of MMA. I think people may have taken what I just said, and that's their thoughts on MMA, maybe beyond just the fights. Like, I understand it is a little bit more watered down with a lot of Contender Series guys. We are getting a lot of regional level fighters now on UFC cards. That's undeniable. Let's just look at this UFC card. Like, Jamie Lynn Horth is not technically a UFC level fighter, right? Chad Engellinger versus Cody Gibson is a walking papers fight. Neither of them probably resign. That's no disrespect. That's just facts. Like, and this is one of the better cards of the year. But there are multiple cards that this year specifically that we get those 2 fights times 5. Times 6. Like it's literally all the way up to the main event and main card. So that's just kind of overall my thoughts and things of that nature. Rush Hour Fight Club. What up, baby? My boy Jay is the GOAT. Let's
go, Rush Hour.
That's the GOAT. So, and that's just like, I just think you just get so many crosshairs when it comes to MMA and personalities here. And I've noticed it's, for example, this is the best example. On ESPN MMA, I left a comment.
Hey, big
I
dog,
left
I gotta
yeah.
head out.
Later, fool.
You can keep, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate you, bro. You have a great day.
I gotta take off, hit the road.
Later, brother. So, for example, I left a comment on MMA fighting post, just a simple comment about on MMA fighting, nothing too serious. And then you know what happened? Someone slid into my DMs and said, "Change your profile pic, you ugly motherfucker. You know nothing about what you're talking about." And I was like, what on God's green earth would make someone jump into my DMs to say that? And it turned into more of a laugh fest between me and him, which I thought was pretty fun of an interaction. But it is absolutely insane that people really do this stuff. It's insane. I respect it, and I think people are funny, but guys, it's not that serious here. And I think it's more of the fan base that get people pissed off. Look at this, Vinny. I'm going to show you these DMs. I swear to God, this has to be one of the funniest interactions I've had in a while. Let me find this real quick. You can't make this stuff up. Let me see. Ilya was not grew up with money, little ugly motherfucker. Change your profile picture. I just told him the meat riding is real and Ilya wasn't about to bang him. And he's like, Ilya is my neighbor, motherfucker. I hope you're watching this, bro. Like, it's the funniest thing ever, man. Like, why are you sliding into my DMs about some shit? And I know I'm not the prettiest looking dude ever, but come on, guy. Like, it was pretty great, man. Like, it's not that serious. And I think that is what sours people on the sport. I don't think it's the sport itself. I think it's toxic fandom like that. Like, for whatever reason, he thought he had to defend his favorite fighter with 8 million views, multiple gold straps, multiple millions of dollars, like he is going to bang him behind the scenes. It's not that serious, guys. It is all good. And I even said in the comments, literally, I'm just trolling. Like, it was just the best thing ever, man. So that's what it kind of comes down to, man. Like, and the best thing about this sport is I think I got a little bit pissy and salty when Bellator left. I feel like my heart, a little bit of my MMA heart got taken with Bellator. Hashtag Bellator never dies. Breaks my fucking heart specifically. Sometimes the fans are insufferable. My favorite is when people resort to the word casual. That's the best, when someone calls someone a casual, because it's like, guys, fandom on any level is fandom, bro. What is the definition of casual, non-casual fandom? Like, people are ridiculous, man. But you gotta love it, because undeniably it gave me the best chuckle at work that I've had in ages. So yeah, y'all. So that's kind of my thoughts, man. I wanted to give a see, Philip felt me with that, man. We lost a little bit of ourselves when Bellator left, man. Like, and it sucks to see the true end of it, because we're getting now on Christmas or New Year's Eve, I'm sorry, the Rizin crossover Bellator event. This truly will be the last Bellator event of all time. Like, it's kind of breaks my heart when you break it down like that, man. Like, watching Bellator grow from these shows that had Stephan fucking Bonner and Rich Franklin headlining them and Tito Ortiz headlining them, to homegrown their own fighters from the AJ McKees of the world, the Patchy Mixes of the world, even the Aaron Picos of the world. It's incredible, man. Seeing their Grand Prix, if anyone remembers that Bellator 135 Grand Prix, you remember the golden age, having the champion choose who they wanted to fight, all the candidates walking out. Fuck, man. To bring me back to those days. Those were the best, bro. I was just watching Bellator with my dad before UFC. Honestly, bro, it's just the greatest memories ever, bro. It's literally the greatest memories ever. KB next to the cage. Yep, bro. Scott Coker to 1, he would actually take it to maybe a little bit of financial literacy, since we know what Chatri's overdoing over there, spending all his money on blows and prostitutes. It's absolutely impeccable what he's doing over there. By the way, is Mr. Campbell over at Combate becoming the next Chatri? Vinny, what do you think about that? Your boy Campbell. Honestly, too, bro. Bellator's live events were the best, bro. And that is where I can say you have a bunch of fools there that aren't there to watch fights. They're there just because they got tickets. So they clear out halfway through the main event, and then it's just the best, just intimate viewing of the fights. My best bets I've ever won in my life all had to do with Bellator specifically. And Patrick, by the way, I just saw your message. I'm sorry that Blanchfield money line's not in my plays as of now. I have to take Rose pre-fight. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Going to that LFA card in a few weeks. Yeah, there's a few different fighters here. Kamwela Kirk is someone I want to see. Jacoby Jones fight, someone that I bet on live multiple times. Don Davis is absolutely the worst commissioner, promoter, runner of business in the business. Doesn't even watch fights. Listening to this guy ramble, it's ridiculous. He's literally polishing a shit every time he rambles. What he does is he takes a turd on the question and he polishes it up just enough to where it's politically correct and he can move on to the next question. He doesn't talk anything prompting about MMA. He fucked over Bellator, said he was going to buy out Bellator and turn it into something that it's not. And now he killed two of their events. Now we have one of the best 135ers on planet Earth, Patchy Mix, sitting on the sideline for God knows how long. Oh, it is just horrendous what is happening over there with Don Davis. That fool can kiss my ass. Everyone at the CST chat and everyone that's ever heard me rap before knows how I feel about PFL. But yeah, Patrick, actually, I'm actually going to get, now that I know you're going, bro, I think we should link up then in that case, get some tickets and make a banger parlay. And the best thing about, this is the best thing about local fight cards and no one ever talks about. Fans can sway the judges. So if you have a bet on one specific fighter and you're loud enough, it can sway what the judges thinks. Optics and sound matter. That's a definition fact here. If one person oohs and ahs are louder than the other person while they're getting cracked, no matter what the actual outcome is, it can sway these judges. And these judges, as we know, incompetent as shit and are just dumbasses. Dumbass. They have an all-female card December 12th. Well, if you're betting on that, you need to call the hotline right now. Not saying you, Vinny, but anyone betting on any all-female card, Invicta, LFA or not, call the hotline. Call it in. Call it in. You can get in free as a CST member for LF. Whoa! Let's do it. Let's do it. If you need me to do post-fight interviews too as well, if you need me to actually do like the media day interviews, let me know too, Philip. I'd be more than glad to do that for you, brother. So I don't know how good my phone quality camera would be for that case, but it should work out and I'd figure it out. So if that's the case, I would love that. Let me know. I'd be more than happy to cover that card live. So, but yeah, man, that's just a little bit of rambling on MMA here. I wanted to talk a little bit about boxing here, but I don't feel like I have too many coherent thoughts to say right now because my rambling is pretty hilarious at the moment here. One thing I do want to say here is you have the O'Shaquie Foster versus Consuncao fight where I don't care what anyone says. Foster got robbed. It was absolutely insane that they gave Consuncao anything for doing fucking nothing that fight. Not saying that Foster won that fight by a country mile, but Foster absolutely should have won that fight. I didn't understand the idea of getting Consuncao the favorable win whatsoever. So if we're looking at tomorrow here, you have Abraham Nova coming back here. When they drop the lines, Abraham Nova by knockout against Humberto Galindo, lock it the fuck in. It'll probably be at plus money somewhere. Trust me, blonde hair Abraham Nova is back, baby. Trust me on this one. Darius Fulgham's coming back to him by knockout is minus 120, but you can get the props round of him minus plus 55. Darius Fulgham rounds 3 to 4. I'm telling you in here, Darius Fulgham's going to come kill this guy. Christopher Pearson's a fucking can. And 2 of his last finishes came to rounds 3 and 4, like Darius Fulgham there too as well. A lot. And Raymond Martala returns too as well. And Raymond Martala by knockout after a lackluster showing in his last one at plus 120. Lock me the fuck in, good sir. Lock me the fuck in. Raymond Martala by knockout tomorrow night. 8 p.m., 7 p.m., according to DraftKings, by knockout, plus 120. Guarantee by fight time, it's yet even money. Go lock in Raymond Martala by knockout now. And then you have Robson Consuncao, plus 285 against O'Shaquie Foster, minus 380. Someone's getting knocked down this fight. I don't know who, but someone's finally getting knocked down this fight. This isn't going to be the slow-paced banger that we saw, quote-unquote, that we saw last time. Let's go see the fight props here. Either fighter to be knocked down at plus 130. That's the parlay for boxing, boys. Tell Philip I'll be your bodyguard if so. Hey, I may need it, bro. I have no squabbles, boy. Pat just be the cameraman. See, that works out even better. There we go. We have Pat for the cameraman, and then we got me and you together. So, y'all, The way I would play boxing, if you guys want a boxing parlay for the co-main event and the main event tomorrow, you have Raymond Martala plus 180. Well worth the straight play, by the way. You can hammer the shit out of that at plus 120. And then either fighter to be knocked down by Roman Conceicao and Oshaki Foster at plus 130. Parlay together, you have it plus 406, 4-1 odds. Go smack it down, y'all. Trust me on that one. I'll screenshot it. I'll post it on my Twitter. In fact, Phil, can we get a CST Twitter post about Nick's boxing parlay of the day tomorrow? I think that would be great for the people. 4-1 odds, 2 legs, very safe legs in my opinion. And I'd love to stir a little controversy after how slow that Oshaki Foster and Conceicao fight was last time. I can see people coming for my head for even calling a knockdown in that fight. So that'd be great. I'd love that. With that being said, y'all, I think boxing in the best state that it's been in, shout out to Rida season, it's going to be on a little bit of a slow turn here for you. So yeah, I don't have much to say after this live. Does anyone have anything to ask or say before I jump out of here and get back to work? I'm going to jump out in a few more minutes. So text incoming, Phil. Text incoming, good sir. Ah, yes, Jerron and Bam. Actually, I would love if me and my boy Jay from Rush Hour Fight Club could jump on that together. I think me and Jay could make a banger together. I think that would go incredibly well. But, Jerron's going to finish Karen this time. I'm curious if we have odds on that. Let's go talk about it real quick before I get out of here. And I'll give a full breakdown and preview. Maybe something like I did for the Lomachenko fight too as well. Give a full breakdown. Let's see here. What do we have here for Karen versus Jerron Boots Ennis? The future of boxing, the face of boxing, him himself, Mr. Jerron Boots Ennis. Holy shit. We don't have any odds yet. All we have is minus 6,000 for Boots and minus 2,000 for Bam Bam Moser, Pedro Guevara. And Pedro Guevara is someone that I have a personal love for. I live bet the shit out of him versus Maloney. Body punching in hell, great inside boxing. Pedro Guevara probably gets knocked out 7 through 12, I would say. Jerron Boots Ennis. Honestly, I'd probably play the 7 through 12 parlay. Karen, if you've ever seen him fight, has some of the most awkward foot movement we've ever seen in boxing. In his last fight against Jerron Ennis, Jerron was having a hard time tracking him. And now that he has 12 full rounds in there with Jerron, I think that Ennis is going to walk him down and eventually get the body work going and find a stoppage up top. 7 through 12 is going to be a great number, probably at plus 120, maybe plus 140. And for Jerron Boots Ennis, getting anything in knockout for plus is incredible. I also recommend watching that fight live because on ESPN Bet or on DraftKings, you can get props live for boxing while they're happening. And what I like to do around round 4 or 5, you start to see the decision versus knockout odds completely shift. For example, you'll see Jerron Ennis at plus 600 by decision, but him by knockout at minus 200. Around minus 4 or rounds 4 or 5, you start to see Jerron Ennis's line move to maybe even money by knockout. And if you can hammer that, you take it. I got Tank Davis against Frank Martin after round 5 by knockout at plus 100. It's like, come on, taking Tank Davis by knockout at plus money is a no fucking brainer for any better. Pedro Guevara has really good inside boxing and solid body work too as well. But Jesse Rodriguez is someone that doesn't stay on the inside and play around on the inside. When he's on the inside, he throws power punches and he gets outside and he cuts on ankles. Jesse Rodriguez probably keeps this fight on the outside for 6 rounds, eventually finding the devastating shot somewhere around 8 to 9, I would say. So the round 7 through 12 parlay for Bam Bam and Boots is going to fucking bang out. We're going to call it the double B, Boots and Bam Bam, triple B technically, the triple B 7-12 parlay. It's going to slap like a motherfucker. We're going to send it. Let's get it. Nick, I want to do a pound for pound boxing lift and graphic soon. I would love to because we have someone named Junto Nakatani that deserves to be in that top 10 that I need to revamp my top 10 list. So I'll be sending that to you soon. With that being said, y'all, make sure to follow Combat Sports Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like, share, comment, subscribe, show love. We appreciate everything you guys do from a fandom perspective. Nothing more to say. Appreciate y'all. Later.